First, welcome to the video. We will explore how to handle a large financial gift for a first home, why affordability matters more than the down payment size, the legal risks of being on another deed, and how to strategically deploy the cash. We'll also include actionable steps, diagrams, and quick quizzes to help cement the concepts. Next, here's our agenda. We'll begin with affordability and debt-to-income ratios. Then show why a $52,000 household income can still fail to qualify, even with a large down payment. We'll cover the legal deed risk, lay out a strategy to deploy the gift, compare places to park cash, run through example scenarios, and close with quizzes and key takeaways. Moving on, affordability is paramount. Lenders focus on debt-to-income ratios, not just a large down payment. Even with significant cash, if your monthly payment relative to your income and existing debts is too high, you may not qualify, or you may strain your budget. The diagram shows income flowing into a DTI evaluation. If the ratio is healthy, you proceed to a target payment, and then select a home price that matches. If not, the better path is to wait, boost income, and park funds safely until the numbers support a sustainable mortgage. Now let's do the math. With a $52,000 annual gross income, the monthly gross is roughly $4,333. Many lenders use total DTI caps between about 36 and 45%, depending on program and risk factors. If we take a conservative 36%, the target all-in housing payment would be around $1,560 per month. If you also have other monthly debts of about $300, then the room left for housing decreases to around $1,260. Once we add property taxes, homeowners insurance, possible HOA dues, and expected maintenance, the payment can exceed those limits even if you put 50% down. The markdown recap emphasizes how DTI is calculated, the difference between front-end and back-end DTI, and the need to leave room in your budget for savings and unknowns. Next, we visualize a sample allocation of a $100,000 gift. About 12% for closing costs acknowledges attorney fees, title insurance, and appraisals. 70% toward down payment meaningfully reduces the loan principal and payment. 18% is reserved for emergencies to ensure resilience against job loss or unexpected repairs. The exact percentages vary by market, credit profile, and home price. This is simply a reasonable illustration aligned with the strategy to preserve liquidity and stability. Meanwhile, if your name is on the deed of any other property, pause immediately. This status can disqualify you from first-time home buyer benefits. More importantly, the co-owner could take on debts like a home equity line of credit or attract liens, complicating your finances and damaging your credit indirectly through audits and obligations. You should halt purchase plans until you clean up title issues. After that, follow a legal cleanup sequence. First, hire a real estate attorney with experience in co-ownership matters. Second, gather all relevant documents, including the current deed, property tax records, any liens or HELOC statements, and relevant agreements. Third, execute a quitclaim deed or similar instrument to remove your name from the title. Fourth, ensure the deed is recorded with the county and request certified copies for your records. Fifth, confirm with your lender that you meet first-time buyer eligibility. Finally, proceed to pre-approval and home shopping only after the title is cleaned. Additionally, prepare for pre-approval with a structured checklist. Confirm you are not on any other deed or remove yourself before applying. Compile 2 to 3 months of bank statements for sourcing funds. Obtain a signed gift letter that clearly states no repayment is expected. Verify that your all-in housing payment fits lender DTI guidelines. Maintain 3 to 6 months of expenses as an emergency reserve after closing. Finally, get a written pre-approval to support your search. Next, understand gift documentation. Lenders require a gift letter that includes the donor's name and relationship to you, the exact amount, the transfer date, and a clear statement that no repayment is expected. You should provide sourcing documentation such as bank statements and possibly proof of the donor's transfer. Be prepared to explain any large deposits. Lenders run anti-fraud checks. On the donor side, gifts above the annual exclusion may require a gift tax filing. Consult a qualified tax professional. Keep the funds accessible and clearly documented to satisfy underwriting. Now, compare places to park the gift. A high-yield savings account offers quick liquidity, very low risk within insurance limits, and variable rates. But interest is taxed as ordinary income. Short-term treasuries, or a certificate of deposit ladder, can offer competitive yields and low risk. with treasuries backed by the U.S. government and potentially exempt from state income tax. Liquidity depends on maturities, though ETFs provide more flexibility. Choose based on your timeline to buy and your need for ready cash. Moving on to numbers, here are illustrative scenarios only. At a $300,000 purchase with 20% down, the loan is $240,000. At an example rate of roughly 6.75%, principal and interest are about $1,555 per month, adding an estimated $400 for taxes and insurance, brings the total housing near $1,955. With a $250,000 price at 20% down, principal and interest are about $1,296, and the total around $1,646. With only 10% down on $300,000, principal and interest would be about $1,750 plus private mortgage insurance, leading to totals above $2,150 in many markets. These are rough estimates. Actual rates, PMI, taxes, insurance, and HOA vary widely. Use this as a framework to test your own budget and consult professionals. Furthermore, remember ongoing costs. Many owners spend roughly 1 to 2% of the home's value per year on maintenance. Keep 3 to 6 months of living expenses as a cash reserve after closing. Anticipate major replacements like roof, HVAC, water heater, and appliances. Avoid putting every dollar into the down payment. Maintaining liquidity is essential for stability. Next, the sequence diagram will outline the journey. The donor sends gift funds to the buyer. The buyer parks those funds in a high-yield savings account or treasuries while preparing. The buyer resolves any title issues through an attorney. The lender evaluates debt to income and issues a pre-approval. The buyer makes an offer, and title or escrow handles the closing process and costs. The buyer wires the down payment while preserving reserves. Finally, closing occurs and keys are delivered. Now a quick quiz. The question is, which factor most determines whether you can sustainably qualify for a mortgage? Option A, the absolute size of your down payment. Option B, your debt-to-income ratio and all-in monthly affordability. Option C, how quickly you can close. Option D, whether the gift came from a family member. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is your debt-to-income ratio and all-in monthly affordability. Lenders prioritize your ability to handle the monthly payment relative to your income and debts. A large down payment is beneficial but does not override a weak DTI. Next quiz. The question is, what should you do immediately if your name is on another property's deed, especially if you are estranged from the co-owner? Option A, proceed with the purchase since you are not on that mortgage. Option B, ignore it and hope the lender does not notice. Option C, hire a real estate attorney and remove yourself via a quitclaim deed before applying. Option D, just write a letter explaining the situation. You may pause the video now to think about the answer. We will discuss the answer in the next section of the video. The correct answer is to hire a real estate attorney and remove yourself from the deed via a quitclaim deed before applying for a new loan. This protects your eligibility and reduces exposure to unexpected liens or credit complications. Now a brief disclaimer. This content is for educational purposes only and is not financial, legal, or tax advice. Mortgage programs, underwriting standards, rates, PMI costs, taxes, and local rules vary widely and change over time. Consult a qualified real estate attorney, a licensed loan officer, and a tax professional before making decisions. Continuing, deploy the gift in 3 priority buckets. First, set aside about 2 to 5% of the purchase price for closing costs such as attorney fees, title insurance, and appraisal. Second, apply funds to the down payment. At 20%, you may avoid private mortgage insurance and reduce the principal, lowering the monthly obligation. Third, maintain a 3 to 6 month emergency reserve after closing to absorb repairs or income shocks. The overarching strategy is to focus on a comfortable monthly payment rather than maximizing purchase price. To summarize key points, prioritize affordability and debt to income over down payment size. If your income will rise soon, waiting and safely parking the gift can improve outcomes. Resolve any deed entanglements before applying for a loan. Document gift funds properly with letters and sourcing. Allocate the gift to closing costs, down payment, and emergency reserves. Finally, always consider the full cost of ownership, including taxes, insurance, association dues, and maintenance. Finally, here is the wrap-up. Lead with monthly affordability and your debt-to-income ratio. Address deed issues early with legal counsel. Use a proper gift letter and maintain clean documentation. Budget for closing costs and emergency reserves before maximizing the down payment. If the timing is not right, keep the funds in low-risk, liquid accounts until your income and market conditions support a healthy mortgage. As a closing note, thank you for watching. If you found this helpful, please like, share, and subscribe. Share your approach to handling a large gift and whether you plan to save, wait, or buy in the comments.